Growing up, it wasn't an issue that I really thought about, to be honest. It probably wasn't until I was in medical school, actually, that I actually started to think about it. I remember one of the older urologists was a Scottish man, a country that doesn't really practice circumcision. And I remember sitting there at lunch with him, and we were talking about this circumcision clinic, and he said, well, if a boy didn't clean behind his ears, we wouldn't cut his ears off. And he was very, very critical of it. And it's the first time I've ever kind of heard anyone like vocally speak out against it. And it did make me pause for a second and actually start to think about it. It became very clear cut to me that it was a problem, an ethical problem, what was going on. So myself and a significant number of other members in my clinic group just refused to participate in that outpatient clinic. And that was actually relatively easy to do in my medical school. There was never this was something that was optional. That was if people wanted to learn this additional skill, they could do it, but it wasn't part of the core curriculum. It bothers me. First of all, it bothers me as a physician, right? This is my profession's problem. We were the first profession to take what was a religious ritual and to turn it into a medical practice. We packaged it and we sold it to the population, and it was based on pseudoscience and superstition and irrational fears of cleanliness and all of the wrong reasons to promote a surgery. And circumcision got a free ride, right? It wasn't good for fixing problem A. Maybe it's good for fixing problem B, or let's use problem C as the reason why we keep doing it. So it carried through, and we just, for some reason, were not able to say we were wrong with why we implemented this practice into our medical practice. What are the chances that this ritual from the Bronze Age is beneficial for anything? What are the odds that it's truly the cure or the prevention for all these serious diseases? It offends me as an intact man. Every time that you have to read a study or listen to a parent say that they circumcise their child for hygiene reasons, for reasons of cleanliness, to think that there's, first of all, that there's something dirty to begin with a natural body part, but that men are somehow not sophisticated enough to know how to clean our own bodies, that we don't know how to care for, we don't know basic hygiene actually to clean ourselves is kind of insulting, right? I don't think that the creator of the universe specifically wants us to cut off part of the genitals of just the males of our species. I think that is a obviously man-made proposition, and it shows on so many levels. It has the cruelty and the aggression and the typical type of trauma that you would expect from our species some of the time. We can do horrible, cruel things, and this is an example of one of those things. There comes a time when you have examined the issue on so many levels and seen the convergence of so many reasons why it shouldn't be done that it becomes very hard not to speak out against it. And it's similar to any kind of human rights violation that it is so blatantly obvious that it starts to bother you why other people can't appreciate it the same way that you can. It's just circumcision is one of those things. To me, it's just so obviously wrong. I think that physicians can be desensitized. You can be desensitized to seeing blood. You can be desensitized to the pain that a patient's feeling, and you can be desensitized to the cries of a young baby. And that's probably part of making the job easier for the physician. I don't think it's just circumcised physicians that are unfamiliar with the anatomy. I think that a lot of intact physicians probably aren't familiar in a scientific sense with the functions of the foreskin and the sensory innervation and the evolutionary purpose of the structure. So I think that all physicians probably need more education about the normal intact penis. So we don't need a full remedial course in it. We just need to recognize it like any other normal body part on a child. It's just part of their normal body. And whether or not it may develop pathology at some point later on, we shouldn't feel a compulsion to amputate it. Just like we're not going to take out the appendix when the child's 8 days old. We're not going to remove any normal body parts unless there's pathology present.
Do you think we can end circumcision?
Absolutely. I'm 100% convinced we can end it, because in the end, human rights always win. Sometimes it takes a long time, but we're going to end it.